Hello and welcome to episode 271 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbos. I'm joined, as always, by Matthew Figuera.
I totally didn't just do a mark check quickly.
Just like that.
No, well, Audacity's busy flickering. So I'm like, do I have the right sound source?
Oh no.
Because it doesn't seem usual. So I just quickly put my microphone off and on, and it is the right one.
Okay.
I don't know why. I mean, I don't think it's loud or anything, but it's doing a thing. And I'm like, what is going on here? Sound's coming through this. That's all that matters, right?
Great way to do a mic check as well. Just like turn off the microphone as I'm introing you. It's a bold move.
The microphone's on when I talk, but it's just when you are talking, when you edit my audio, you can hear a little...
the little boop.
That comes, I don't know.
How you doing? It's been a week.
It's been 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know. Time just goes so quickly.
since we last recorded. Yeah, no, it's been, I think, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm actually not entirely sure, but it's been a while. That's for sure.
Like, what are we going to talk about today? And there's stuff to talk about today.
Turns out when you take an extended break during an arguably very busy May. I think the last time we actually spoke was when we were chatting about Doom, or I was chatting about Doom.
Yeah. It's Doom.
Which was
Expedition 33.
a long time ago. Yeah, Expedition 33, which I still haven't finished. I got to Act 3 though.
Putain, am I right?
Putain. That transition in Act 3, wild. Let me tell you that. Did not expect things.
Game's good. I love how I'm not can't even talk about it, but it is you can just go tick off a whole lot of side stuff if you want now, or you can just go finish the game. Just about.
The map is interesting because like I want to remember where a bunch of side stuff is, but that map isn't especially useful at doing that or surfacing that sort of thing.
No, that's probably we're not talking about that game for extended periods in this episode, but my only gripe ultimately, having rolled credits in that game, is it needs a quality of life patch in the form of a mini map, and one, a mini map, and two, an easier way to navigate that overworld and remember what is new, what's different, or I don't know. Pulling open my map every 3 seconds is just annoying when I'm exploring.
Yeah, no, agreed. It's it needs a bit of a spruce up in terms of the map, and even though the map has some like icons on there, it doesn't like sometimes, especially for the side stuff, it doesn't highlight what that is. No. There's no name or anything like that, so you're just forced to like kind of go there and figure out what's happening at those areas, which is fine. But at least where I am now, the map is quite large, so getting from one end to the other isn't, it's not like crossing the world in an open world game, but it still takes time, and I feel like I could definitely
fast travel
cut down on
great
that
as well.
Yeah, there isn't really fast travel. You can only fast travel out of places, not between.
No. Other than that,
a
really great game. 100.
I mean,
that is
the story's taken a turn for the most interesting.
I would not be surprised. I mean, there's obviously, we're not even halfway through the year. Okay, we've still got 6 to 7 months, but I would not be surprised if it cleaned up Game Awards later this year. Just universally, I don't know a single person who played it was like, nah.
100%. 100%. It's super, super strong, and I don't see that sentiment dying. I still hear people talking about it, which, a month and a bit now since its release is quite telling for a game that's definitely, I think, going to make an impact still at the end of the year. Conversely, have not really heard many people talking about Doom, which is interesting to me because I really enjoyed that game, but it does not seem to have had the staying power at all in people's heads, or at least in the very small bubble I occupy on social media. I'm sure the game's doing plenty well.
Yeah,
I know Darren enjoyed it, so
I still want to get to it. It's one of those things I'll play later this year when there's a bit of a quiet period. Which
both of us are
I
coughing
don't know.
beautifully. I'm going to have to edit so much
I
out
know,
of
I'm
this.
so sorry. I don't know if we'll get a quiet period, but I feel like it's the sort of game I'll say for when there's a lull in things
And
that I'm busy
I
playing.
think that's a good it's a good one to keep for that, because it's not that long. I think, it took me like just under 15 hours or 15 hours or so. So it's not like massive.
Yeah.
And it's a nice, almost like a palate cleanser between, I don't know, Doom is just like get in there, shoot stuff, turn brain off a little bit. So I think especially when you're comparing it to like Clair Obscur or another game you're going to talk about, Blueprints, and a bunch of other games coming out that people are talking about are very complex ones. So yeah, I think that'll be good. And now the rest of the year is getting kind of filled out with Summer Game Fest having happened on Friday, and as of this recording, the Microsoft conference happening this evening. So I think we are starting to get a clearer picture of what's coming out end of this year, even beginning of next year. Specifically with Resident Evil 9 coming out in February, that seems to be the new Resident Evil slot,
It's
hey?
Feb,
Because
Feb, yeah.
Village came out in Feb, and I think
and remake
4 remake was like March, if I'm not mistaken.
I do think I stand to be corrected, but I'm pretty sure when they did 7, that sort of kicked that off.
You're right.
It was early in the year, and it was a weird thing because I remember when 7 was launching, people like, don't know, doesn't look like Resident Evil. It's they announced it 6 months ago. It's going to probably be a flop, and it's like, no, it is.
That was also the first time they did the thing of like show the game for the first time, and oh hey, it's out in 9 months.
I think it was even shorter than that. So it was so soon.
It was definitely around then, because we saw it the first time at E3. We were both there, and that was like June or around then. And that I remember sitting in the theater there, because it was at the Sony conference, if I'm not mistaken, at that big orchestral thing, and that was like the big one where I think they kicked off with God of War. There was that big orchestral number and whatever. And Resident Evil 7 was shown off there. And it was like, oh, okay, that looks scary, but Resident Evil hasn't been good for a long time. The last one was 6. And now all of a sudden this one's out to 9 months after having not seen anything. Little did we know this was Capcom's big comeback.
Just firing all cylinders.
Resident Evil 7 was so good. I'm curious to see if 9 is going to be first person again, because
they never said.
You're not playing as Ethan, so
no. Did you watch the whole showcase? Did you just catch up on highlights? It was pretty late in South Africa, I think.
Yeah, it was like, I think it only started here at 11. So my goal was to watch it, and then I just got so tired. So I caught up afterwards, and I did see that Capcom kind of like trolled people. They at the very start, I don't know what they showed off at the start.
So I was playing Nightreign, and I had it on my secondary screen just to see if there's any big game announcements. And I don't know what they showed at the start, but first of all, they showed a Capcom sale. There was just a segment like, hey, it's the Capcom sale. They had the lady Dimitrescu like talking and announcing it, and I was like,
sale.
I was playing with John Mark. I was like, whoa, Jeff Keighley just announced a Capcom sale. Like, what's that all about? How strange, you know? And then later in the show, they had Resident Evil's director going, hey, like, I know you guys are excited for Resident Evil. We just got to let it cook a little bit longer. And I was like, okay, they're confirming it. I'm sure they're going to show something like in the next few months. Okay. But then at the end of the show, like, hey, Resident Evil 9. I was like, oh, you sons of bitches. I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah, I saw that screenshot of, and people on Twitter obviously sharing, like I go through the timeline that Wario64 kind of like tweets out of the whole event. And I saw that image and I was like, weird, because everyone was saying it would have been revealed this week. You know, there was this assumption that it would appear at Sony's conference as well. So it was just strange. And then, all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it was the last thing to be shown, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
not much of the game was shown, but the vibes, pretty good.
The vibes
pretty scary.
Go back to Raccoon City. I'm there.
Yeah, after the nuke, and it seems like the game is set in a hotel, so it's got real Resident Evil 1 mansion vibes to it. Yeah,
Take my money.
seems good. It's got Ashcroft, which apparently is a character or a connection to a character from Resident Evil Outbreak, I think I read.
Let's just close our eyes and not worry about the story, okay? Let's just see the...
Yeah. I did read somewhere, I don't know if it comes from Capcom themselves or this was a thing that was spoken about pre-release, but this game is apparently meant to be the sort of capping off of... I don't even know which arc they're talking about. Like, the quote was almost like it's the end of the traditional Resident Evil story and also a kicking off point of the future. And I'm like, do you mean Resident Evil as in Resident Evil 1 up until now? Or just this, 7, 8, 9 trilogy? Because that definitely felt finished by the end of 8.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
You do wonder at what point... Because, like I've mentioned earlier, don't worry about the story. The story is absolute nonsense and it goes places. And I'm talking the entire franchise. And granted, they could probably squeeze more juice out of it. Like for the next 10, 20 years, they'll tell stories from other parts of the world with other characters, whatever. Maybe they mean, as in, like, this will cap off the whole story, and then do we get a clean slate? Resident Evil 10 will be a brand new story, or Resident Evil 1 remake, whatever they call it, will be like rebooting, and they'll do the whole franchise. Like, I don't know. Who knows?
They need to do a remake of 1.
I was also thinking a 1 remake.
Eat that up.
If they don't do a 1 remake, then I don't know. It seems.
I mean, we'll find out about the next remake after the release of this, because that seems to be the cadence that they're going at. So, because Resident Evil Village was 2001 or 2020?
I think was it not? Remake 4 was 2022, 2023. Might have been beginning
remake
of 2022.
4. Remake 4 was last year.
No, it wasn't.
I swear it was last year.
And I can tell
2024.
2023. I'm telling you it was 2023. Because I measure things, Bao.
Wow. Holy shit, this game is 2 years old already? What?
Did I play...
That's crazy.
I measure things, Bao. Did I play it in South Africa? Did I play it in the UK? I was like, I distinctly remember playing that in South Africa, which makes it at least 2 years ago.
What is time?
Yeah.
Oh, so Resident Evil Village was 2021. Also, we were completely wrong. That game came out in May, not in February.
Village or remake?
Village.
But Village was slightly delayed, wasn't it?
I think you're right. I think it was meant to come out in February and then got delayed.
I don't know I don't know.
Yeah, Remake 4 came out March. That I distinctly remember. I really thought it was last year. That's
time.
Wild. Okay.
Welcome to getting old. There's just huge gaps in your memory, like a wall. Not gaps in the memory. You misremember things, or time just feels different to what you...
So when was Remake 2? 2019. Okay, so they were on a cadence almost of, every 2 years. Although Remake 3 kind of messes that out a little bit. But like 2019, then 2021, then 2023. This one's kind of breaking the mold because it's 2026, so it's a 3-year gap.
Which is
but I would say
fine.
within the next 2-3 years after that, you'll get a remake of something. Okay, so Resident Evil 9 is called Requiem, and they make the Q a 9, which is quite cute. I enjoyed that. What is 10 called?
Rebirth.
Rebirth? Where do you get the 10 in Rebirth? I can't make a 10 out of any of those letters.
How do you make a 9 out of a Q? I can't even think how that logo looks.
Well, I mean, Village, they use the V.
Yeah, the VII.
VII. But there's no 2 I's.
No, they...
Oh, did they use the VI and the 2 L's?
The 2 L's, yeah. Genius.
Capcom needs to be stopped. This is
mad
ridiculous.
People.
I mean, Requiem was nonsense because they flashed Requiem up and then the Q just flashed into like an orange 9 and you're like...
You like that, okay. It doesn't even... Q doesn't even look remotely like a 9, but I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, 7. Oh no, 7 didn't have a subtitle. It was just Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
And then they went Village and now Requiem. So maybe they're on the subtitle train now. They don't want to put numbers in their game names, which is strange.
Yeah.
It is interesting though, because I was watching the trailers, or like a roundup of some of the best trailers from the show, and Shani was on the couch watching as well. And when I was quite excited for Resident Evil, she said, "Oh, are Resident Evil games good?" And I was like, you know, depending on when you ask that could have, the answer to that could be wildly different, you know.
I
currently,
don't know.
yes.
I think the only misstep, and even this is like debatable, 6 was not a good Resident Evil game. However, great action game, and I stand by that. Resident Evil 5 before that,
great
again,
co-op game.
I loved Resident Evil 5. Like, maybe not the traditional scary game, but Resident Evil 4, the original, was not necessarily scary. It did survival horror more in the sense of you're overwhelmed by sheer numbers and, like, you know, baffling odds. How does Leon survive these evil Spanish priests coming at him with the pitchforks? But Resident Evil 5 was just that with co-op, and like, I don't know, people are like, no, that's when the franchise really dipped. I'm like, yeah, maybe in terms of the story and whatever, but the co-op was great. 6, terrible Resident Evil game, 100%. Great action game, and I will down this hill. Capcom tried something different, it did not work. They should have just called it not Resident Evil. It would have been a great game.
It's a dreadful Resident Evil game. Like, and also, like, you're not wrong, but you're also forgetting all the other stuff that Capcom did with Resident Evil at the time, which was absolute nonsense.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
let me just remember
Raccoon
the main
City.
entries. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Raccoon City was dreadful. Revelations was actually pretty good. I recall those being quite
1
nice.
and 2 were really good. I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Not like perfect.
Apparently
Resident
3
Evil
got
games, but
cancelled. I read a thing recently that they were working on 3 and they cancelled it.
I would have played that happily.
I would have played that, yeah. The second one, I think the first one was definitely better. The second one had that whole episodic nature to it, but I think it was cool to be... It was Claire Redfield, wasn't it?
There's Claire and Barry Burton's daughter, Moira, and you could play Barry Burton as well. There's another...
I think that was good. I wonder, they could do a remake of Revelations 1. Like on their ship, you know, completely redone, playing as Jill. That could be cool. Yeah. I'd be down for that. And that would feel more akin to like a remake too, because it would be a complete rework for how that game looks and feels. Because that was originally on 3DS, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and then it got ported to other consoles later. I think it'll still be the first game, and then at some stage they have to do Code Veronica. Like, I don't know why. I think the game in its day was good, but it feels like it's got such a... I don't know, it's like the black sheep of the franchise. Resident Evil 0 had problems with it. Like, I still enjoyed it, but there's a good story there. So I don't know, they're not lacking for choice.
If they're going to do 0, they might as well just combine it with 1.
Yeah.
Like flash between the two sequences.
Make like a mega package or something, I don't know. We'll see.
Although, considering how much juice they squeezed out of Resident Evil 2 into a much bigger and broader game, they could definitely do that with 1. Because, you know, 1 now you play it, it's a big game, but it's not on the scale of the ones that came before. You could definitely like expand that out. No. I think they can make the sequences with Lucy. It is Lucy, right? That like really hectic creature that was created. She like chases you outside of the mansion.
That wasn't in. I can't remember the name, but that wasn't in the original. That was.
Was that only in the first remake? Really? Oh wow!
The one with the whole outside area and the lady. Is she like not blindfolded, but that wasn't in the original.
Really?
That was added.
I did not know. I've only played the GameCube remake of Resident Evil 1. You know, the one that you can still freely play and is still very good now. Wow. Okay, I had no idea. Hectic.
There you go. This is a Resident Evil
Ben
podcast
Star's
now,
Albert Wesker.
Oh my gosh. I'm
Could you imagine? That'd be great. I think that'd be really good. That's your Resident Evil minute. I don't know how that happened.
That's just Yeah. Summer Games Fest,
this
Resident Evil 9.
yeah, you should go watch it if you didn't watch it. The show is actually pretty good. There's a lot of cool games that were announced. I think I went and looked at it afterwards, but Darren spoke about that boxing game with the Muppets, which I thought was a strange comparison until I saw the actual game. Crazy.
Yeah,
like
there was some
how that
interesting
is gameplay is insane to me. It looks like recorded Muppets boxing. It's kind of cool. I think it's called Felt That, which is a very good play on words. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was good. I've seen other things popping off, like Splitgate did a very strange thing where they hyped up the Game Awards a lot, and they announced something cool. They've got a battle royale in that game, which I think I really want to check out because I mean you know the premise of Splitgate, right? Like it's portals, with COD essentially. I'd say more COD than CS:GO, but yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed the first game, but I cannot imagine how a battle royale fits with that sort of mechanic. So I kind of want to see that. Yeah. But the whole thing got bogged down with the developer on stage wearing a hat that says "Make shooters great again," and you're like, my man, why?
Just that is, yeah. Even just a quick tangent, like in terms of like the work I do for Xbox, what is you as a dumb example, like if we were to try write like social post copy for a Call of Duty game, which happens like once in the blue moon, it's like you have to be so careful with how you word it, because it is like you can't really say shooter, like hey, you know, buy these great shooters. Like, well, okay, that could be like misunderstood or like taken out of context. To just straight up wear a hat.
I mean, a hat that has the word shooters and then references, the whole Trump.
Yeah, it's like just that word. Is, like, just call it an FPS. Make FPSs great again.
I 100% think it was you know how people have co-opted that thing to just like.
Yeah, to parody.
It's a meme in itself. Yeah, but like I don't think there was ill intent there, but it has not gone down well, like at all. The other thing that seemingly didn't go down well, which I think is quite silly, is Arc Raiders got a release date, which, listen, when that game comes out, we need to play that because that looks so fun.
That is Arc Raiders.
Oh, you must be the only person on earth that asked this. So Arc Raiders, that's actually kind of insane. Arc Raiders is another extraction shooter, that's the word, that had a beta at the exact same time as Marathon. So Arc Raiders has been known for a while. It's made by Embark. They are former Battlefield devs. They did the finals.
Okay. I've heard of it, yeah.
So that had a beta at the same time as Marathon, and people significantly enjoyed that more. Like, hilarious. Arc Raiders popped off. It had like hundreds of thousands of people playing it. And it seems like a much better blend of that sort of tension with a much wider appeal. And so when they put up a teaser that said June 6th, which is the Game Awards, I don't know how people got this in their heads, but they assumed that the game was shadow dropping at the event. And that obviously didn't happen. It's coming out in October, and they've had to put out a statement about how disappointed fans are and how they mismanaged the hype. And I'm like, what do you mean? You just
put a date down.
It's silly. It's completely silly. And the rumor, I think, went out of control. But in any case, I'm excited to play that game. I watched a lot of streams of people playing it, and it looks like a good time.
Nice.
There was a lot of stuff there, and I'm keen for the Microsoft show. What is the one thing that you want to see? Yeah,
it's just full stop.
Silksong.
I know you and I are a meme at this point, okay, and with many other Silksong fans. However, there've been a few things in the last few weeks where it is like, the Steam page has been updated several times now.
For the first time in 5 years.
It's like, okay, maybe. I don't know.
There's been so many of these instances where it looks like the stars are aligning and then nothing happens, and you look back and you're like, actually, that was some real cope right there. So
there's also, I don't know, you shared a rumor or something where it is like, it's definitely going to be out this summer, and I'm like, okay, interesting.
Could you imagine if it does the thing that it did at E3 a while back with it shadow dropping on Switch, which everyone seems to think was the original release. It wasn't really, but that's what got Hollow Knight like spoken about.
Yeah,
I think.
I stand by it again. Just because I work on the Xbox account does not mean I'm privy to this kind of information. So I'm not leaking or like this isn't fact, but I'm convinced that at some stage, whether it's this show or whatever, that Xbox will announce it and it will be a day one on Game Pass. Like I'm convinced it's a big enough game that like Microsoft have been killing it with the Game Pass stuff. And I'm telling you, that team looking at it are like, we have to get Silksong. Like we'll pay.
I'm pretty sure they announced that already though.
They showed it. They showed it as like when Silksong came out as a trailer. It was this will be on Game Pass.
It's like 2023 or something. Yeah. It said it would be on Game Pass.
But what I mean is that it'll be shown again, but like day and dates. We're showing it and now it's out on Game Pass. Like
I see what you mean. Okay, no, I thought you meant it's coming out on Game Pass at release. Yeah, so I was like, I'm pretty sure that's happening.
It's out like now on Game Pass. We're showing it and it's out now.
I'd probably agree with you on that. So that really puts pressure on like today's show. Because I mean, by the time anyone listens to this, we will probably know the answer.
Either look like geniuses or idiots. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And I've looked like an idiot when it comes to Silksong many a time before. I've worn the
clown outfit too many times. Okay.
That's the one thing I'm really hoping for. The other thing that I kind of want to see, which is a lot less like exciting, I guess, to most people, is I want to see Gears of War E-Day.
I think we'll.
They announced that last year.
I think we'll get gameplay and like maybe
and a release date probably.
Date, yeah.
I think there was a rumor a few weeks ago that it was pushed to 2026. I can probably see that. But yeah, I just want to see the game. I'm keen for that.
I'm also pretty sure we'll get a new Forza Horizon. It's been long enough, I think.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Since the last one and Motorsport. So I'm pretty sure we'll see that.
I wonder where Horizon will be set now.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
They've gone to
Mexico,
every continent except two. Well, so they did Mexico. Australia was
the previous one. And then
Australia was three. Australia was three. Four was the UK.
Yeah.
5 was Mexico. 2 was Europe. It was in France, like Nice.
Oh, nice.
Around there. But it was... What?
Oh, man, you said Nice, and I was like, oh, nice.
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here.
It was not planned.
I didn't even
just
hear
the words
that.
fell out my mouth. It's like, oh, nice. Like, oh.
Were you correcting me, or were you just saying nice?
I was just saying, oh, nice.
So yeah, 2 was kind of like that and like bits of Italy. It was just like Europe, the game. So they haven't gone to Asia, and like Japan is right there. And they haven't done Africa. And if you had said, oh, Africa, where are you going to drive in Africa? Man, they went to like Southern America, Mexico, and made it just in the desert. So I don't know.
And it was
fucking
fun.
Drifting next to a lion, I could see that.
That was my first Horizon, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So
which one?
The
last one.
Last one. Is it 5?
It was a strong one, yeah. I think the only miss, and it isn't even a miss, it just like wasn't that exciting, was the one in the UK. I just didn't really vibe with that setting.
I think with the seasonal stuff, I never played it, but that was cool. The seasonal stuff was cool. Sounded pretty cool.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I really enjoyed. I just didn't, they take liberties with the areas they visit, obviously, but it just didn't feel as diverse and exciting as Australia, and then obviously Mexico after that. So
yeah,
I mean, we won't speak about it today because I mean we're already half an hour in. How's this happened? But I played a game fairly recently for review called Japanese Drift Master, which its entire premise is, how has Forza Horizon not gone to Japan? We're going to do that, obviously, with a fraction of the budget. And I don't know if it was a case of them sticking to the area too closely, but a lot of their game takes place in very, very small like villages just outside of main cities. And those roads are unbelievably narrow, to the point where they should not be in a racing game. Like, you should not be striving to be real in this way because it's actually detrimental to actually racing there. So I suspect if Forza goes to Japan, it will be like, here's Japan, how you think it looks, but actually not at all how it looks. just so that racing is fun, you know.
Yeah.
I definitely could see it in Japan. Like, I think that's the logical next step for that racing.
And what's Microsoft's big surprise other than all of that? Do we get...
So I think we get a release date for Fable, because that's been a while.
Been cooking
I
forever
think
now.
the thing that they close with will be a pseudo re-reveal for Everwild, a Rare's game. Yeah, that they announced I think in 2019 or 2020 and hasn't been seen since. So I think if they're going to show that off again, just re-reveal it, because people have forgotten that thing exists. I could see that being a big thing.
What about Halo? It's been a long time since Infinite, so they just quietly putting it out.
I think they spoke, I think it was last year or the year before, about moving to Unreal Engine. They've kind of given up on that. I think it's way too early. Yeah. I think they put that out and were like, we are working on multiple games and we're moving engines. And I think they actually said in that Xbox Y article, it's a while till any of this stuff comes out. So I don't think Halo is going to be there.
It's wild to me.
I think if you focus on a shooter, it's going to be Gears. So.
Yeah. It's just wild to me that Halo was the Xbox game, and the brand has changed so much in the last few years that I don't even think of Halo when I look at Xbox. I'm just like,
Yeah, Xbox doesn't really have a focal point, I think, anymore. And I think you could say the same for Sony in many ways. Sony used to be Uncharted, you know, that would be the thing there. And now Sony has they have still Uncharted or the Naughty Dog games, and they have the Ghost of Tsushimas, and they've got the God of Wars. I guess PlayStation is Sad Dad Game, the console.
Sure, nail on the head.
But there isn't that very strong distinction between the two anymore. There isn't the one franchise that I think dominates either or, which is totally fine. It means it's more varied, I think, which is cool. Sure. But you're right. You think the 360 days, it's Halo and Gears versus, what was in the PS3? It was, Uncharted, Killzone, all of those things. So, I don't even think I've said this is Checkpoint Chat to talk about video games. That is crazy.
32 minutes. It is
32 minutes in. That's nuts. I don't know how this happened.
Longest time
but
stamp
it
of
happened.
Life.
The intro, 30 minutes.
Should probably, just put a timestamp here. Xbox showcase. That was what it 29 minutes.
A console came out this week. Can you believe it? A brand new Nintendo console came out, and we didn't lead with that. What a crazy world.
I cannot believe it. Even though I have one, I cannot believe there's a...
I have one too.
Hang on. Let me just get mine as well, okay?
Look at this bad boy. Oh, I'm busy talking, and the Switch is in front of my mouth.
I can hear you. Look at this bad boy. Oh, wow.
God damn, look at that. Wow, I'm just reflecting my entire house. Someone's going to play the geolocator game and figure out
Man,
where
if I ever want to just have a mirror, just to look at myself, this is what it is. This is a
Nintendo
chunky
Switch
boy.
Too. It is a chunky boy.
Chunky's the wrong word. It's just bigger. It's not chunky. It's just...
Look at how nice and colorful that is. It's so beautiful. Wait. One of the best parts of the Switch.
It's... I was going to say, so right out the gate. Okay. So let me tell you guys. I have not played this yet.
That's crazy. Crazy.
I got mine yesterday, aka Saturday. Got it 2 days after launch. And all I did is I downloaded all the stuff I needed, and we'll talk about it later. I was like, I'm so close to finishing Blueprints. Let me just tick that off. Okay, before I even get lost in the Switch, I'm going to tick that off. However, in setting this up, first of all, it is wild to me that Nintendo just did a straight up sequel. Okay, I know the Wii U was a sequel to the Wii, but the Wii U was very different to the Wii in that it had a whole different controller. They tried to do something different. The Switch 2 is just the Switch, but with improvements. Okay, it
is this Switch but bigger.
And right out the gate, let me tell you this: the clicking of this is just that is the best change I've ever done.
It's so good. It's
even
it
just
feels
how
good. It's strong.
How the controllers come off, because the first Switch, my Joy-Cons never broke off that console, but it was always at the back of my mind for as long as I had it that those things were never snug. Every time I clicked it in, if you you're not pulling it, but if you're playing, you know what I mean. Like it never felt like it was like snug.
It didn't feel part of the console, and I think that was especially true when you had a game that vibrated a lot.
Yes.
You could feel it rattly in the little like railing that it was in.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is significantly better in my opinion.
Yeah. It's. But you've actually played it. You can.
Yes. Yeah. So I think just off a hardware standpoint, it is such an interesting console to hold in the hand because it's as thin as the original Switch, but it is considerably larger in both height and width, which makes it strange to hold. I think the original Switch, I always found it like an okay comfortable. I definitely felt like I had to vice grip it a little bit.
Yes.
I think this one less so just because there's more space between the hands and the buttons are larger. Yes. And so I feel like it's a bit easier to hold, but at the same time, because of how thin it is, there's no real like ergonomic way to hold it. You know, like I will get a Hori split pad or whatever the hell for this thing, like a bit of more ergonomic grip down the line. But I think what's fascinating is that as large as it is, it's not all that much heavier. Like I picked up my OLED. And the OLED's dense. Like, it's very heavy.
It's surprisingly heavy. So I actually Googled it because I had the same conversation with Lenski yesterday where she was like, yo, it's way bigger. And I'm like, but it doesn't feel much heavier. And we held it side by side. I was like, yeah, like it's a little bit heavier. So the original Switch was very light, 300 grams, okay? The OLED was 400, hang on, sorry. The Nintendo Switch. Oh no! Wait, this is AR. AR's giving me bullshit.
You can't trust it. Those AI, the AI insights on Google.
Sorry,
can't trust it.
I thought it was the description of an article. Okay, so the Switch 1 weighed 297 grams. Okay, the OLED
that is light.
The OLED's not much heavier, but 320 grams, and then the Switch 2 is 401 grams. But I think
really?
That must be without the Joy-Cons, surely, because that's crazy.
That's too light. It doesn't feel. I mean, it doesn't feel almost 100 grams heavier. No. That's wow. I wonder if it's just because the weight is dispersed over a larger area.
I think it's dispersed. Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely is heavier, but the balance of it feels better. Whereas the OLED is much chunkier in a smaller package.
And sorry, those weights I read, I think those without the Joy-Cons, because now there's another article. It's like the Switch 2 with Joy-Con attached is 534 grams. So
so it's just they're just measuring the screen essentially. Yeah. Okay. I mean, in any case, it doesn't feel like significantly heavier in the hand, and I compared it to the Steam Deck. Size-wise, it's very similar to the Steam Deck. Obviously, I think the Steam Deck is thicker and by virtue a bit more ergonomic to hold. But as a handheld, they are very similar in like overall footprint when you put it on your desk. I think the hardware is solid. I think it feels good. It definitely feels a bit more premium than the Switch, because I think the original Switch, there's nothing wrong with it. Like every time I talk about the Switch 2, it's going to make it sound like I hated the original. Like I love that console. It's great. It is a fantastic console, but it definitely feels more toy-like when compared to this. This feels like a premium console. Maybe that's where a lot of the cost went into. It's like, we don't need to convince people of this idea. They know of it. Let's make it premium.
That's exactly what I was saying when we started, is that it's not weird. It's just wild to me that Nintendo took an existing console and went, we're not going to do the usual Nintendo thing and like fuck with a good thing. We're actually just going to take what we know worked really well and just improve on it. A bigger screen, better Joy-Cons, etc., better processor.
The dock is a lot nicer, I think.
It just you're right. It looks more premium. Like that's right out the box.
It's just a refinement in every regard, I think. I love the all black color scheme with the pops of color underneath the Joy-Con. I think it's really smart. And then obviously when you pop the Joy-Con off, that's where you get like, it's almost like hidden color out of there. I think it's really, really nice. And I can't wait to see, what they do with other controller colors, with the Joy-Con colors and stuff like that. The the software feels very snappy. I think the eShop is, I mean, it's night and day difference.
Listen, there's nothing different about the eShop other than it just works now.
It works. It doesn't feel like it's running on dial-up. Like, if I'm going to be negative about something on the original Switch, that eShop was a disaster.
The worst.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're watching the video feed on, I mean, also surprisingly, the UI exactly the same, just about. Like, they haven't done a whole new menu or anything. They've just sort of like tightened up what exists, which, again, it's just strange because the Nintendo I know, I fully expected them. In my head, I'm like, cool, they're just doing the Switch too. It's the same console, but they're going to do something that's just going to like, they're going to pull Nintendo thing where it's just going to, there'll be something that throws me off. Maybe it's the software, maybe it's the shop, but it's the Switch One, but with improvements. So,
but it's also so playful. I found on the setup, like the little noises it makes when icons appear, and the almost like triumphant music that plays when it first boots. It's really cool. Like, it's very Nintendo in that. Like, there's been a lot of concern that Nintendo's lost its playful side in just making a straight sequel, and I don't think that's true at all. I don't think
that's true, like remotely true.
It just feels very fun and playful and toy-like still in that sort of sense. So it's definitely faster, like significantly so. You can just feel like there's a lot more horsepower behind this thing, and the screen runs at 120 frames per second. It's got a variable refresh rate. It's got HDR. It's not really got HDR in my opinion, but that's a whole other discussion for another day. But I think what's shocked me the most is that, coming from an OLED, I was expecting the LCD to be a downgrade, and it is. It's not an OLED. Like, it's nowhere near in terms of that sort of richness in terms of contrast and color, but it is significantly better than I expected it to be. It is bright. The color reproduction is really good, I think. And the very first time I held it and looked at the menu and started messing around, I was like, this looks like, if I didn't have my OLED near me, I could still tell the difference, but I wouldn't be as annoyed by the difference, put it that way. Whereas you go back to the first Switch, like I've got my Nintendo Switch Lite, that screen it's bad. It's not good at all. It just looks old. So this is definitely good in that sense. I do have a bit of an issue, which I brought up in Discord yesterday, where the pixel response times seem a bit strange. Like, there's a lot of ghosting, like smearing, and I don't know if that, again, like OLEDs have kind of eradicated that from displays in general. But I started looking, and people on Reddit are mentioning it. I know John Linneman from Digital Foundry posted about it as well. So I don't know. Thing runs at 120 frames per second, but the smeariness of the pixel response time, it's affecting me because I'm noticing it. I presume a lot of people are not going to notice it. So I know when I'm playing Mario Kart, I don't notice it. But when I'm on the home menu, or when I played Tears of the Kingdom, I definitely noticed it, and it was a bit distracting. So, but other than that, I think
maybe it will, like Darren is like, oh, you guys have ruined the console.
It was just like, I could tell something was off.
Yeah.
And I was just like, something's not right here. And it was only when I booted up Tears of the Kingdom that I almost got like motion sick. I was just like, this is definitely smoother, but the, like, just panning the camera or moving it quickly, it really bugged me. So I hope my brain gets over that.
Yeah. Well, maybe, I don't know. It is one of those things where, to give you a dumb example, I'll never forget the first time I saw TV with HD, like an actual HD TV, and it was like, whoa, that's too lifelike. That's the picture's like too clear. Like, do you ever remember that with that leap in technology?
I definitely I remember that, but that was also in conjunction with TVs using the like smoothing, where people have that smoothing, and that looks fucked up. Like,
but
so.
The thing is, like, if you go to a low-res TV today, you're like, like, I can't see. It doesn't look right. But we lived with it for so long. It's only now that we've got the standard, you get used to it. So I wonder if it's the sort of thing you will get used to. I don't know.
I agree with you. And I mean, if I had to go back to the original Switch, like, that screen is markedly worse in every way than this one. And I had no issue with that. So I think it is just a case of, so many of our screens nowadays are OLED. Like, my TV's OLED, my phone is OLED. And so your brain gets really used to like things, especially with pixel response times, like they change almost immediately, you know?
Yeah.
And so when that is suddenly regressed a little bit because LCDs don't have that,
Yeah.
I just feel, at least for me, I noticed it now, which I never used to notice it before. So I'm hoping it's a thing that after playing a lot more, I just kind of don't see anymore.
Yeah.
And I suspect that'll be the case. You just kind of get used to it and your brain like tunes it out. That said, I played a lot of Mario Kart. I think Mario Kart looks really cool and I think it's a really fun game. I mean, I love Mario Kart and I played a lot of 8 Deluxe, and I just think World is a really smart iteration on a lot of those ideas. Like, when you play it, it's the same sort of loop of like, you're drifting a lot, you're grabbing boosts on the drift, you are jumping off little ledges to get a boost when you hit the ground, stuff like that. But then you've got this new grinding mechanic, which, listen, the one thing they need to put into Mario Kart is a better tutorial, because I had to go into the menus to figure out like some of the new mechanics. So you can grind on rails, or there's a lot of pieces of tracks where you can grind. And when you on a rail, you go, I think, faster than if you're on the ground. And also when you jump off of it, you get a boost.
Okay.
Now, some rails are obviously off the ground, and I used to see AI opponents get on them, and I'm like, how are they, where are they getting on this thing? So you have a whole like jump mechanic that just isn't explained to you, where, normally you press like the right bumper to drift around a corner. Now, if you hold that same button, but you continue forward, you do that thing where your tires like dig into the ground. They're like, it looks like they're being squashed into the ground. And that is the jump. When you let go of that, you jump forward or you jump in a direction. So that's how you need to like start timing drifts, coming out into a straight, locking that in, because it takes like a second or two to get into that jump mode, jumping into a ground for the next corner. And I can see people coming up with like insane new lines on like, oh, this person's drifting around the corner. I'm actually going to jump on the rail and rail around the corner, because then I'm locked into this corner and I'm going a bit faster.
Amazing.
It's cool, man. It feels cool, and the tracks really lend themselves to that. There's a track in the early Grand Prix where a portion of it is on like a train track, and so all the two like parallel rails are rails that you can like grind on, and then sometimes there's trains coming towards you, so you're hopping between the different rails while still going forward to avoid these trains. And then on top of it, when you're in a tunnel and like a train is coming directly for you and there's nowhere to hop, you can hop towards the wall, you drive horizontally on the wall, and then you hop back onto the it's nuts. It's so cool. Like it's great.
What's remarkable is that you think this is Mario Kart 9, right? You think Mario Kart 8 was great, like, quotes unquote, the perfect kart game, Mario Kart, whatever. How do you improve on that? And it always amazes me how, not just with Mario Karts, some developers will be like, oh, we'll show you. And it is exactly what you said. It's just these little fine-tune, slightly different things that add this extra depth and variation to what is a great formula already. So
100%. It's like, I cannot wait to play more online, because I want to learn from other people how they're getting around these tracks. And the tracks are interesting. Like the first Grand Prix is, the Grand Prix are four races usually. The first race is on a traditional track, but the 3 after that aren't on lap tracks. They are almost like sprints. So you start in an area and you end in a different area, and there's 3 laps, but you're not doing a loop. You're getting to a point in the sprint and it's going, cool, like, you're on lap 3 now, which is like a bit strange. It's kind of neat. It also takes a bit of learning, because now you're not doing a lap and going, cool, I know where this corner is, I know where this corner is. It's like one long race.
That's awesome though.
And then you get the big endurance races as well, where you race on a track, the race continues to the other track, you race there, and it's almost like a knockout thing. Like, I think the person in last at certain points gets knocked out, so it's an endurance race, which is kind of cool.
Crazy.
Game's great. I think it looks really fun. I've only messed around because you can open world this thing. It's like a Forza Horizon. You can just race around. I've only dabbled with that a little bit. It feels a bit weird, because I don't it feels like a bit aimless, and the world doesn't feel like it's ripe for exploration in the same way that a Forza is. But I've also only done it once, so maybe I haven't, let it kind of work its magic on me. I did see a really ridiculous tweet yesterday where someone was in a track which had the castle from Mario 64.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they like ramped off the track and onto like the roof of the castle and then drove into the mosaic of Peach. And you know how in Mario 64,
that's how
you would jump
levels,
into like portraits to take you to the levels. And then there was, if I'm not mistaken, there was one in 64 where it would like mirror the entire world. It would flip everything. It fucking did that for the entire open world of Mario Kart, which is like the tweet doesn't go on from there. He drives into there, it mirrors it, he opens up the world map, and the world map is like flipped. And it's like, wait, can you explore the entire world in this mirrored?
That is cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the sort of shit that'll be cool to discover in this world and see other people discover, because that's neat. It's almost like Jeff Grubb discovering you can use the rewind mechanic to avoid a blue shell, which is just absurd.
So yeah, that clip went over my head because I was like, what is going on? But so there's a rewind mechanic. Is that
there's a rewind mechanic, yeah. But I didn't realize that the rewind mechanic, obviously everything else around you continues going forward, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Which makes the rewind mechanic plausible in multiplayer, because how else would that work?
Yeah.
But the fact that you can use it to avoid a blue shell is nuts.
That's game changing.
Yeah, game changing. Like, which is slower now, getting hit by the blue shell or rewinding?
Yeah. I'm
stuff.
very, very keen to play. I was saying to Lenska yesterday, because I don't think she remembered and she didn't. The last time I remember playing Mario Kart, I mean, I played a bunch of Mario Kart 8 on the Switch, but the last memory I have was us playing on a bus in Poland on our honeymoon. Which is
cool.
6 years ago, I was like, that's the last time we both played Mario Kart. She's like, what?
That's so cool.
It's like, yes, we're going to play more now.
Now you just got to go to Poland again and recreate that memory. Oh my gosh.
I go to Zakopane. We're going north for that trip. Yeah, so very, very keen to play. And I'm just keen to, even not to like replay games, but just to dive into older games and see how they run. Like, so you said you mentioned Tears of the Kingdom. Did you get the upgrade, or were you just playing the OG?
No, I got the upgrade. So you get the upgrade for free if you're part of Nintendo Switch Online, and you've got.
Okay.
I thought you needed the expansion pack for the game itself. I don't know if that's true, but I got it for both Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild for free. Like, the store is actually a bit confusing, because you go to the upgrade, and on the right it says purchase, and it's got the price there, but on the top it's got a button that says download, and that's next to the like Nintendo Switch Online logo. So I assume if you don't have Nintendo Switch Online, that download button isn't there. But like, it was very, like, I almost purchased it because it had the purchase button there.
Okay.
So I just hit download thinking, oh, this won't work, and then it worked. So I don't know. I would try download it before purchasing it. It runs better. It's like 60 frames per second, which is cool.
Nice.
And I definitely think that's, like, if you haven't played a Zelda or you held off playing it, like, that's the way to play it now.
You are in for such a treat, because even at 30 FPS with the odd drop here and there, that game is just...
Yeah, you went into the Korok Forest and things just went nuts in there. It was like sub 20 frames per second.
I'll believe it or not, I'm going to download it just to go to the Korok Forest. Like, is this running smoothly or not?
These are officially patched games, though. I put in Link's Awakening, which always ran fine, but there were hitches here and there, in the same way that Echoes of Wisdom had the same hitches, because I think it's on like the same engine or whatever, and they ran a lot better, both of them.
Nice.
And those ones don't have Switch 2 editions; they're just running. They had unlocked frame rate, so I presume that's why they're able to just push up into that. I know yesterday you mentioned, like, will Monster Hunter Rise run better? And I don't think so, because
probably,
that had a capped frame rate at 30, and its resolution won't suddenly be higher. So hopefully people do a bit more work to at least give some free updates. I know No Man's Sky got a completely free update that I mean, I think in docked mode it renders at 4K on the Switch, which is crazy. I think again it's using DLSS,
this
which
thing
you
doing
can
4K,
use.
are you crazy?
No, nuts. It's not. I mean, because it's running on an NVIDIA chip, DLSS is a huge boon for that. Like, I think it cleans up a lot of the image really well. So I'm curious to see that stuff. I'd love to play Cyberpunk on here, but I don't feel like paying 1,000 Rand again for Cyberpunk when I have it on 2 other platforms already. So yeah, I'm keen to get stuck into this a bit more. I've got the Welcome Tour game, which I've dabbled with a bit. Oh, yeah, that's the mouse controls.
I'm very keen to try that.
I did the demo in Welcome to that I'm sure you've seen where you like control a UFO and you're avoiding spiked balls, and that's like a whole demo for the mouse. It's crazy. How well it works like blew me away. I thought there was.
No. I was gonna say when I looked at the Joy-Con, I was like, I'm trying to figure out is it just this little, is that like an infrared reader? But it works on like everything.
Yeah, and. Crazy. It works at different angles, it works on different surfaces, and it's just like scarily good in terms of accuracy. It's when I was playing that demo, I was doing flicks. I was like, that demo is specifically designed to show you the accuracy of the mouse, because that game would be impossible to play if it just like lost tracking for a momentary second here or there. It's like super good. Obviously, the Joy-Con feels a bit weird to hold like a mouse. Like, I didn't know where to put my index finger. But I cannot fault it in terms of accuracy. It feels like I really kind of want to play Metroid Prime 4 when it comes out with the mouse control. I think that will actually feel really good.
Yeah.
So,
and it's cool that...
I think it's cool.
From the demo stuff I've seen from people at hands-on events and stuff, you can just switch to different modes. You don't have to hop into a menu, go like, I'm playing mouse mode, and it just picks it up and it does its thing, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have Cyberpunk, so I can't test it out with the first-person shooter thing, but I tried it in Mario Kart, just on the menus, and as soon as I turned the Joy-Con over, a little mouse cursor appeared on the screen.
This is crazy behavior, playing Mario Kart with a mouse.
I mean, stranger things have happened. Some people play Spider-Man on PC with a mouse and keyboard, so...
That is, I'm offended that is people who people do that. Yeah, so I think, look, you've had the console since launch 3 days ish. I've had it a day. I haven't even played it, but I'm very keen to actually dive into it. And like you, just jump into some games in my library just to see, like, do they run better? How do they look? I'm not gonna replay things necessarily, but I'm gonna definitely just jump in to see what they look like.
It is really fun when you do that. It's like when you get a new graphics card on PC and you're like, damn, this game that used to struggle on my PC, how does it run now? There's like satisfaction in seeing that.
Can't wait to see Celeste on my new Switch, man, I'm sure.
God damn, yeah. It's going to be just as
unreal.
brutal.
I'm going to play Celeste with a mouse, just to like really put myself out there. Yeah, super keen to play it.
Yeah, we're going to be chatting a lot more about the Switch for a very long time now. We spoke about the original Switch for who knows how long, but I mean, there's Mario Kart out now, there's Donkey Kong, is it Bonanza? Coming out in July.
I was going to say that wasn't a launch game, that's still coming soon.
That's coming out next month, and I think, there will be a direct of some sort in the near future, and we'll probably get a better idea of the rest of the games for the year, because like Metroid Prime 4 is coming out still end of this year, and just kind of seeing a roadmap of what's coming to the Switch 2 will be nice. But the launch seems to have gone well. It was a really cool thing to attend, like a midnight launch again.
Oh my gosh, like
the first time in who knows how long. And it was cool to see how many people were there, like way more people than I expected, and a lot of people there to pick up their pre-orders. So I think it's been a very strong start for the Switch 2 abroad and even locally, and I'm curious to see how it grows from here.
The young uns will forget, but pre the Switch, Nintendo were not in a hot spot. I think the Switch one did wonders for the company, and it is cool to see there's such goodwill and belief in the brand again. Because
especially locally, like the Wii U was a problem here. Like it got fire saled super quickly after launch, because I think I'm not entirely sure if Core was distributing them then, but like whoever was, they just wanted that thing gone. It's crazy. I think at one point you could pick up a Wii U for like 2,000 Rand new. It was crazy.
Wild.
Yeah.
Old times.
Yeah.
But yeah, Switch 2. I'm very keen to keep talking about that in the future. I'm keen to play it today at some point.
Yes, yeah. I'm very, very curious to hear what you think of Mario Kart, and we should play online sometime.
100%. I wanted to, just quickly before we bounce off, on the Discord, do we have a family account or not? I can't remember if we set one up like years ago and I forgot to know. Okay, we should probably do that.
Cool thing is that all the friend codes still worked, so it's not like I have to add you to a whole new system. I see all my friends, even without Switch 2, still on the Switch, which is super nice.
Yeah, very smart to keep that same ecosystem, I think. Backwards compatibility. Thank you.
I always say very smart. It's like the given. I think I've had the same friends list since PS3, but with the Nintendo console, you never know.
You never blame.
You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that a lot of that stuff has come over. Like it acts like a console, iterative, like a sequel console should in today's day and age, which is good. Like Nintendo does its own thing, sure, but there are annoyances, and I think they've kind of like acknowledged that those things were annoying in the past.
Yeah, last thing I'll say is when you boot up the Switch 2 and it says you can move over stuff from your old Switch, just bring it closer to. I was like, excuse me,
what a concept.
Nintendo, is this you? Am I talking to the same Nintendo? And then more than that, it's like, you know this, but listeners don't know this. I've been having internet issues, and then I don't know why, but my transfer kept bugging out, and I don't think it's the Switch itself. I'm convinced it's like my router and my internet issues. But it happened once we got to like 95%. I was like, and it's like error, communication error, whatever. I was like, I'm gonna have to start this whole process again. Reboot the Switch. Is like, we can pick up where you left off. I was like, what? Like Nintendo? I cannot believe you're the same company living in 2025, because this is not a Nintendo move. It almost sounds like an
abusive relationship, because you're expecting the worst and then you're getting the bare minimum. And you're like,
Yeah, so thank you, Nintendo, for actually being a modern console at launch, because I'm sure there'll still be questionable things. I'm hoping there won't be, but yeah. So yeah, the reason I have not been playing, the reason I chose not to play my Switch when I got it is because I have been playing I've been playing a little game called Blueprints, and I'll talk about it now, but the reason I wanted to play it over my Switch is I wanted to wrap it up in the sense that I wanted to just like roll credits. I think Blueprints is a game you can play for dozens and dozens of hours because there's so much stuff to uncover here. But there's a primary objective. So if you don't know what Blueprints is, it's this puzzle game that came out, I think, March, April.
I think it was beginning of April, yeah.
Yeah, it's like this roguelike walking simulator, question mark, where the basic premise is you start the game, you, the character, have inherited this mansion. Okay, well, you get a letter that says, like, this mansion is yours if you can get to the 46th room in the mansion, if you can find it. And the 46th room is, when you start the game, you've got like a floor plan, a layout, and it's just north. It's the block right on top of the mansion. You have to get to that room by building your way there. And the way building this game works is every time you approach a door, you get a choice of one of three floor plans. Okay. And every time you can't like go to door, go, oh, those are the 3 floor plans, and step away. The moment you touch that door, and like you're seeing on screen now, I've got 3 floor plans. You have to lock one in before you can proceed.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So then you might think like, okay, but then seems pretty straightforward. Like, I'm just going to get a random assortment of rooms to get to my objective. The thing is, not all rooms have multiple doors. Some rooms are dead ends. Some rooms like will have a door that only goes left. So you have to like snake your way through this floor plan to get north. Okay. But over and above that, the way Blueprints works and why it's so smart is that you're given no context, like at all. You're just thrown into this game, and the way Discovery works is it's just 100% environmental storytelling. You'll place like a bedroom, for example, and you'll walk in and there'll be a letter in that bedroom. and you'll read it, and
Mm-hmm.
you like in the first hour you read a note to be like, this means nothing to me, okay, but then 10 hours in, you'll come to the same room, read the note, go, oh, now I know who this character is, because over playing the game, I've read enough notes or lore to like piece together what's going on in the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from that point of view, it's the same. Like I've seen this game compared to Outer Wilds, which I completely get, where Outer Wilds means nothing. The first day or two you play Outer Wilds, like I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what any of this language means, what these planets are. But as you start piecing together these threads and they start coming together, it is this like mind-blowingly good experience. And Blueprints is very similar in that you realize, because in this house, like, why every day this house, oh, I should have said that every day the house resets. You can't just like build the house, whatever. It resets every day and you have to build from scratch again. And this is all true in the world. It's not like a game like, oh, hey, you just exploring this house. Like, why does this house reset? What is going on? What is the story here? And in terms of, from a gameplay point of view, in terms of gameplay mechanics, you've got resource management in that you start every day in the house with 50 steps. Every time you go to another room, that counts as a step. Okay.
Is that entering new rooms only, or
literally just anytime you move between a room, that's a step.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
There'll be times where you'll like snake off to the house, say to the left, and you go, oh my god, like I've hit a dead end, but now I've got to walk all the way back down to go to the other side of the house, but that takes steps. Okay. But it's not all doom and gloom. There's resource management in that. There's certain rooms you can build that will give you more steps, or you get items, like you get food that you can eat that gives you more steps. As you're playing the game, you can pick up money, you can pick up keys, which you need for rooms. With some rooms you get to, they locked. You need a key to unlock and to build the next room. And then you also get gems, which is what you use to build rarer rooms that, usually give you a buff or something. And then just for good measure, thrown into the mix, you get some rooms that give you a debuff. So you'll get these red rooms, which they'll have 4 doors, which is great because, you want as many options as possible to navigate through the mansion. But then there'll usually be some trade-off of, as an example, there's a room you walk through and you'll lose more steps than you would. Instead of walking in and losing a step, you lose 3 steps. And it's things you have to consider when you're placing the room. So it's an interesting game in that I think it'll frustrate a lot of people, where luck does have a does play a part, where sometimes you might just do a run and you just might get terrible pulls. You might just build yourself into a corner and it's like there's nothing you could have done because all the rooms you got to that point were just, leading you there. But when a run comes together where you're able to build up your mansion and get to certain things, and you see how the resource management works and it comes together, like this game is remarkable. Like I really think you need to make the time to play this game at some point, because I think you will thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's so smart, and knowing you and your background with game dev and how you have a different understanding of games, I think you'll be blown away by how this game has been built. Even in terms of the environmental storytelling, it's so clever how the more you play, you start, digging up like, oh, like I'm starting to, I know who these characters are mentioned several times. Oh, like this happened to them, or I think this happened to them. And what's quite interesting and different for me is that this game outright says you should have a notebook nearby. And I'm like, like I don't really take notes in a game. I made a point of taking notes with this game, and I'm glad I did, because it helped me keep track of not only just certain puzzles but also just story elements, because you'll be surprised how many character names you'll find in this house. And part of the fun is going like, I've got these names, how do they fit together? Like, I don't know, is this dude the brother of that person? Who's the uncle? Who's the housekeeper? And just piecing that together, it's just so satisfying. And I think once you've done the critical part of, you've reached the 46th room, like it doesn't end there. There's so many smart puzzles in this game. There's so many things that can only be done when certain rooms are built, which that's where luck comes in. But when you do pull them off, it is super satisfying. Like I've had, having rolled credits now, I've realized a lot of the stuff, the puzzles I've solved, lots of it optional. Like you don't even have to engage with it. But the stuff I've figured out where I've made notes and like, I think in this room I need to do this. Like I'm pretty sure the game's telling me to do this, but I can't do it yet. I haven't got the right floor layout to pull it off. But when you do pull it off, you go, cool, I've got this layout. I can go to this room to like try this theory, and it works. Like, you feel like a genius. And the only other game that's given me that is Outer Wilds, where you're just given enough to ponder whatever, and then when you go, no way, it's like this won't work, and it works. It's an unreal feeling. Super, super cool.
I definitely want to get to this. I just know that it's a game you kind of have to like lock in and focus on, because I don't think this lends itself to taking a break and coming back to it.
No, that's exactly why I was like, I have to like roll credits now, because to be distracted by the Switch and come back even in like 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, no, I've got to do my thing here.
I wanted to ask, the one thing that I've heard come up about this game is that obviously it's got this roguelite element to it, and that you're doing these runs to try and reach the is it the 46th or 64th room?
46th room, yeah.
And the way I've heard some of it described is like you start off with the limited number of rooms that you can use, and then over time that expands and you start choosing which rooms you want to bring into a run with you, and that helps you progress a bit more. Is that like an accurate description of what you're actually doing? It's almost like, I don't want to use the word like deck building, but it's got that sort of same thinking behind it.
I don't know. There is a room. There's a room that gave me a buff where, so you can either you end a run by running out of steps or calling it a day. You go likewise when it. So I had a buff at a stage, a limited buff, where whatever room I ended in would always be in my draft pool the next day as like a first room. But that's the only instance for me that I experienced. What's incredible about this game is that you will play it, I will play it. I know so many other people who will play it, will have completely different experiences. I think there are rooms I haven't discovered. There are so many rooms I've missed, not because I'm bad at the game, just like I haven't found how to unlock them or how to piece together something, whatever. You and I will talk about the game, and you'll have a completely different experience to me. You might tell me about a puzzle. Well, I'm like, I never saw that puzzle. I never figured out that puzzle. I laugh because John Michael Monk also played this game. He's rolled credits. He's like, I'm not going back to it, so you can talk to me about spoiler stuff. I sent him a picture late one evening. I was like, dude, like I solved this puzzle. I just sent him a screenshot of the solved room. I was like, I feel so good. Like I figured this out. My theory works, whatever. He's like, oh, cool. Like you there. Okay. Then the next day he told me, he's like, I've never seen that room in my life. But it's that level of game where there are things that I will see that he won't see and vice versa. And part of the fun is that thing of like, well, how did you get to the 46 room? Like, what was your last run like? Or what was your build-ups that like, I've got stories where, I don't want to talk about them for spoiler purposes, but I've got stories where I'm like, I can't believe I pulled that off. I got so lucky to do the thing I did, whatever. It is, I've thoroughly enjoyed this game. And it's weird because when I started playing it, I was like, it's smart, but how am I going to play this for 20 plus hours? And believe you me, I played for, I think my playtime's like 26-ish hours, and I could definitely play more. But I'm like,
I mean, anecdotally, I've seen people say they've played this for like over 100 hours.
Yeah, well, which I get. It's like, I think if you really want to solve every single little trick of this house, like it's clever. And I tell you, the level of puzzle solving and how there are just enough breadcrumbs in each room for you to go like, okay, I need to make a note of this, and you start piecing together how these things, fit together. It's really, really clever. Smart awesome. Game. Yeah. And I think it's right up your alley as well.
Yeah. This sounds like a game I would like inhale. So yeah, it's just finding the right time to do it. Because I mean, like I said, I haven't even finished Clear Obscure. I get it. It's a time commitment. Yeah. No, I do want to. desperately want to get to this, and I think like at one point I was like, maybe I should just buy this on Steam so I can get it on my Steam Deck. But then I was like, I don't think this is a game to play in bed. I need to be taking notes and stuff like that.
Look, I will say I took down notes pretty extensively because I wasn't sure like what I had to do, or like, what level of detail do I have to pay attention. And the reality is to reach the 46 room, like you don't actually need, you don't necessarily have to like solve these insane puzzles. It comes down to like, can you just build your way there?
Yes, yeah.
But so yeah, don't like kill yourself taking notes is what I'm saying. But just pay attention to some things. And I know that.
Yeah, I mean, if the game encourages it, then I definitely will take that advice. I know there's a game that came out, I think it was last year, that I don't think is similar to this, but it was also a very in-depth puzzle game where it equally asked you to take notes. It was called Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Oh yeah.
I've heard that is a exceptionally like good puzzle game as well, in a similar vein to this and Outer Wilds. So I think if you're itching for something similar to that, maybe on a Steam sale, you can take a look at that as well.
Nice. Sure. I thoroughly enjoyed
this. Is still on Game Pass, right? It hasn't been removed.
I played on Game Pass. So, like I mentioned earlier, with the Game Pass team getting wins, I mean, to have Blueprints and like Claire Obscure on Game Pass is just...
In the same month as well.
In the same month. Yeah. I don't know how games are added to that service, but I imagine there's a person or a team of people that seeks out the games to decide what gets added and, yes, what wins. Putting those two... It's just super
the stuff being curated for Game Pass now is like, I think, the best it's ever been. It's really, really strong. So, and I think there's still more on the way. I'm sure we'll hear of other ones tonight. I mean, Silk Song shadow dropping on a Game Pass, that would be something.
Yeah, I'd be keen for that.
Yeah. There was something else you wanted to chat about, wasn't it?
Oh, yes. Let me just pull this open. So other than... Another reason why I wanted to wrap up Blueprints is because I've also been playing another little game called Elden Ring Nightreign, which...
Sure, small game, yeah.
Just a
From
small
an indie
game,
developer,
oh my god, which is going to suck up so much of my time. So if you don't know, Elden Ring Nightreign is a multiplayer game. I won't say multiplayer only because you can play solo. The solo is...
huge inverted commas over that statement,
is a multiplayer game set in the world of Elden Ring, but it is a roguelite essentially, where you choose from one of 8 classes and you do runs where you're trying to beat a Night Lord. There are several Night Lords to beat, these big bosses you have to work your way towards, but before you get to them, you play through 2 in-game days which last about... I don't know the exact signs, but I'm thinking they're about 15 to 20 minutes each. And you use those in-game days to explore like a much smaller version of, locations that look familiar. This game is not set in... It's set in the lands between, but it's not Limgrave. You're in Limfeld.
Okay.
But it's populated with very much the same sort of enemies you've seen in Elden Ring, similar locations. And you basically just... roaming this land to get levels, gear, etc., to be strong enough to face the Night Lord at the end of day, which is what happens on day 3. You fight this big boss.
Okay. Unless you die before then.
You die before then, which will happen, because let me tell you, this game is... I don't know if I'm playing it wrong, but it is super challenging, but in a good way. It is challenging in that Elden Ring / Dark Souls way, where it's not just a cakewalk. Like every one I've had has felt earned. I've not done a boss yet where it's like, oh, I'm too high level for this final boss. Like, oh, it was too easy. Every boss I've beat has been like I worked for that. Me and my teamies, we 100% worked for that. And it's fun. Like, I know the difficulty will put some people off, but if you played Elden Ring or you've played a Dark Souls and you thrive in, learning the game and getting good, quote unquote, learning how the systems come together and then getting the perfect run, it feels good. And it's interesting because it's not without problems, but it's interesting that they've pulled that off on a, in a multiplayer sense where you have to rely on other people to help you get to the end. And I think that's where a part of the game's problem does come in, is that you could just, there's no like a form of in-game communication, there's no in-game dialogue, etc. So you might just pair up or end up with a trio. Oh, so you play with 3 people. Sorry, I don't know, I didn't say that. But you might end up with a pair of teammates who have their own idea of, what they want to do, what objectives they want to hit on the map. And I think going off and soloing is viable, but it's not really been the best way to play the game in my experience. I found sticking together as a trio to take down bosses, or 2 of you become a duo and the other third person like is just is off doing something else, but not anything too difficult that they're going to die. That sort of works. But yeah, it can be pretty punishing. I think I've had runs ruined where, so if you die in this game, during any of the days, you'll just lose a level, but you can go pick up your souls. Okay. But even losing a level can be hugely detrimental, particularly in the late game when you want to be as high level as possible to have the best chance of beating the final boss. But I've had and so you, during the day, if you die, you'll respawn. You can go, get your souls, whatever. The only way you end a run is if you are you're facing a boss at the end of the day, and you die. You all die there, then the run's dead. But I've had runs ruined where, something goes wrong and you lose like a level, and it becomes difficult to keep up with, the progress of the game. But if you can pull it off and stick things out and get the right sort of teammates and the good run going, it feels good to play. It's like everything you love about Elden Ring, just in these bite-sized runs. I think a run probably takes like 45 minutes to an hour max.
Okay.
And it just drip feeds you that same good feeling of you start a run, you're leveling up, you're getting good gear. The sort of thing you get in a roguelite anyway. You're getting buffs along the way and you're doing a build as you go. And it might not be the same when you do, your next run, whatever. But yeah, it's...
The thing I'm noticing from this footage is it is fast.
It's fast. Like, it's like a
you are running.
Pace.
It is crazy fast. You don't take full damage.
No,
I see here.
Makes traversal so much simpler.
your sprint also doesn't
Faster.
seem to be mapped to your stamina. Like you don't lose stamina when you sprint.
So it's like Elden Ring, where remember sprinting when you're not in combat doesn't take stamina, but when you're in combat it'll definitely take stamina.
Okay.
That said, you've seen how fast the sprint is, right? You can use that in boss fights, whatever now, and I'm scared to think how I'll live in a new Dark Souls Elden Ring without this pace.
You can't run like this,
You being able to just sprint away from an incoming boss attack, whatever. But
because this is ridiculous. This almost looks like someone enabled like a speed mod on the game.
What do you mean? It's just gone full anime.
It's nuts. Like even your attack speed. I'm watching you like wail on enemies.
No. So that's just the class I'm playing. So the Duchess, she's the agile, fast-paced, dagger-wielding class, basically.
Okay.
What was I going to say? I've blanked out now. You're right to notice the pace of the game. It is breakneck fast. I think, like you, for example, if you pick up the game and you want to try it for the first time, it'll seem there's a lot going on. It takes a while to sort of get into a good groove or understand how a run should work. Because the thing is, you dropped into the map and you can see all the key locations highlighted, and every key location will have a reward or something. So where before you start a run, like, I want to try take down this Night Lord. You get to choose from the 1 of 8, whatever, and you'll go, okay, this Night Lord, it says outright, like Monster Hunter, like it's weak to poison. Okay, so I should pick up a poison weapon.
You actually choose your target before you take on a run.
You choose your target, yeah. Okay. So you go, okay, cool, this boss is weak to poison. I have to make sure that I hit a camp that has a chance of giving me a poison weapon as a reward. And you can see that on the map. It'll have an icon. So, like, I have to make my way there. But in doing your run as well, you need to try pick up the right sort of weapon. You need to obviously level up, and leveling up, killing things on the map is the way to level up. So you want to take down bosses. Bosses also drop, if you're looking at the stream now, like they drop buffs or weapons. So you have to choose what you want. So you're trying to do all of that. And then you can improve healing, for example. You start with 3 healing pots, but there are churches littered across the map. You remember from Elden Ring, there's like statues of Marika where you can up your flask. Those are all over the map. You have to make sure you go to some of those to up your maximum flask count. There's a mine, there are mines, for example, where you can get smithing stones to upgrade your weapons. So when you think of all of that, you go like, okay, what do I prioritize? It's a lot to take in the first time. But the more you play the game, you start getting into a rhythm or flow. Cool, I'm going to sort of, I'm landing on the map in the north. Let me have a quick look. Okay, I'm going to snake my way down and tick off these things. But you want to be as fast as you can because you obviously want to max out your possibility of beating the Night Lord. And it is fast. I feel like you have to be so quick in reading weapon descriptions or buffs, and you have to like choose it, and you have to just sprint out of it to the next objective, else you're not going to keep up with the difficulty of enemies and the bosses you encounter at the end of each day.
The circle that's encroaching on you.
Yeah, it's funny because it's Elden Ring meets Fortnite. There's a circle that closes in periodically, and you can be in that storm for a little bit, but it's not fun getting caught out in the storm, because then what happens is you not only die and lose your souls. If you're at the end of day 2 before you fight the Night Lord, you cannot go get those souls. They're just dead. And I've had 1 or 2 runs where it's this exciting thing of like, hey, we're fighting this mini boss. The storm's coming in, but we're going to fight this mini boss to get like a weapon or a buff experience, and it's going to be tight, but we can do it. If we just pull together, and then somebody dies, and then you're trying to get them up, and then the storm closes in, and you all die, and the run's gone. It's like, oh, it's so frustrating. But when a run comes together,
I've heard mixed things about the revival mechanic, because you essentially have to attack your teammate to bring them back up.
It's just very, I get why. How else would they do it? Is it the Fortnite thing where you just go stand over them and there's an animation? But the reality is that when there's a boss attacking you, it doesn't make sense to be stationary and just like revive your teammates. So I get why they did it. It's a weirdly annoying thing when you're playing like the Wilder, for example, who primarily uses these big like great swords or big weapons, and you lock onto your down teammates and you throw your attack, but it just like goes over them and it misses. And you're like, okay.
Oh God.
Like I'm frantically trying to get this dude up before the boss attacks me, and I keep missing, or like it's hit or miss sometimes, like literally.
I've almost heard that the archer is becoming like a standard pick on teams, because they can heal you from afar, and so like if you are the only person left and the boss is just aggroing you actually have a chance of getting your teammates up, whereas other times it's almost impossible. Yeah,
so the way it works is that every time there's sites of grace littered around the map. You use them to level up and obviously replenish your potions. But if you go down, if you get downed once, I don't know if you did notice, there's like a bar, there's an icon that appears.
Like a circular bar.
It has 3 segments in it. Okay, so if you go down once, your teammate only has to fill 1 segment to get you up. Okay, but if you go down again in the same fight, it's 2 segments, and again, if you go down again, it's 3 segments. Okay, which means that the more you go down in a fight, the more difficult it is to get you up. When that bar requires 3 segments, it takes like too long to revive a teammate. It's very difficult for a single person to get you up if you need 3 segments filled. Now imagine you are the last person alive, your 2 teammates are down, and you have a boss aggroing, and you need to try to fill those 3 bars. It's like impossible. Even with the archer, I'd say like shooting arrows from afar, works. It's probably the best way to do it, but it takes too long. And it's one of those weird things where, to me, I'm like, that could be a bit fairer. Like, it's a bit shit to lose a run after an hour because it takes so long to revive a person. But then you'll have I've been on the Reddit. People are like, no, the game's like perfect. You should just get better.
I've seen some very like diametrically opposed opinions on that, but the revive mechanic seems to be a sticking point for a lot, where it's like it needs to be changed or like improved in some way, because it does, like you said, you get to the end of an hour long, and just because of not being able to hit your teammate fast enough, you lose that run. Seems a bit strange.
Yeah, I should mention that if you're trying to, I've been saying you fill the 3 bars, you're actually trying to like decrease the bar to 0, if that makes sense. You're trying to unfill it. If you say you hit your teammate down, you get them to half, but if you don't attack them for a few seconds, that bar fills up again. You're going to start from scratch.
Oh, that's fucked up.
Which is like,
no,
that is too much. I'm like, they should probably drop that, or just make it that it fills way slow, because it's like, oh no, you're dodging the bars. Sorry, like your teammate needs full 3 bars.
No, that's crazy. I think that's an easy win. Then you just prevent that like filling up mechanic, and you've already made it better.
Yeah. Well, what it has been great to see is that they've been very fast to drop patches for a number of concerns with the game. I know, like I said earlier, the game's not really meant to be played solo, but they have dropped a patch already to make it a little bit easier to do solo play. They're working on a duo mode. So I've been playing with John Michael, which has been great because I've had a friend, and then we're playing with a third random. But even just having the one friend to communicate with has been super helpful. So I'm hoping that they keep listening to the community, and they go, okay, actually, let's make the revive a little bit more straightforward or something. Like, I think this is a game. It's weird because it's a live service Elden Ring game, which would never have been on my bingo card, but they probably will keep supporting this. I think they have plans to add more bosses and more classes, whatever. So I'm pretty sure we will see quality of life things over the next few months to just keep making the experience better. And I will say, like, it's got its frustrations, but I've been enjoying my time with it. I've played maybe 16-ish hours already. I've had some great times. Like, when a run comes together, like I said earlier, when a run comes together and you beat one of the Night Lords, like, it feels good. It's the same rush of beating a boss in Elden Ring, but it's strange because you've done it with other people. But yeah, it is good fun, if not without a couple of hiccups that would be great if they addressed them.
Does this make you excited for the multiplayer game coming to Switch from Software, the Dusk Bloods?
I'd be interested to see. Yeah, I'd be interested to see more of what it is, because I mean, maybe even this game is like a middle ground of them experimenting with the multiplayer and the infrastructure. How does that work? How does that feed into their Switch game? I guess we'll see.
I'm curious to see how that works, because it does seem interesting that they've gone from a multiplayer game, and their next announced game is also another multiplayer game. Like, I know that Nightreign was almost an experiment for other developers at From Software to try something. I think Miyazaki spoke about that previously. It's like, they have designers there that want to try ideas, and this is sort of like a test bed for them to do that. So I wonder what Dusk Bloods is in response to this, or if it was just a happy accident that both ended up being like multiplayer games. Yeah, and I think it might be a bit of everything. I don't think From Software are now only making multiplayer games. I think we will inevitably get the Elden Ring to, hopefully the Bloodborne to, Dark Souls 4. I think an Elden Ring 2 is like, considering it sold like over 30 million copies, almost. Yeah, certain.
It'll be a certainty. I'm not opposed to seeing, more multiplayer stuff. I think it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'll play Dusk Bloods happily. If they can pull off,
I'll give it a go. Yeah.
If they can pull off how, I know this builds off Elden Ring, in that whole world and existing weapons and but if they can make a multiplayer game like this work, a roguelite work, then I'm pretty confident they can do something else pretty cool with other multiplayer titles. So we'll see. Yeah,
especially when it's a game that's built with multiplayer in mind from the get-go, whereas, the Elden Ring Nightreign is definitely conforming an existing formula into something it wasn't designed for initially. Yeah. And I don't think that makes it worse, but I do think something from the ground up made with multiplayer in mind has the chance of being a bit more I don't want to say polished because I don't think Nightreign is unpolished, but like maybe a bit more refined in terms of how certain mechanics work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time though. Come play
Cool.
with us.
I'm glad you are enjoying it. It's been an interesting thing to watch unfold because it's not been the slam dunk, like at least critical response that you expect from a From Software game. But you have to give credit for studios to experiment, I think. So
yeah,
I think it's cool that it exists, put it that way.
Also, I will say it's not a full-priced game, which is pretty cool. You don't need Elden Ring it's not like an expansion for Elden Ring. It's just a standalone thing. And it costs, I don't know what it is in dollars, but it was
it's like $40.
Is it 40? It was 750 Rand, which is like, what does a new game cost now? It's like 1, 2, if not 1.5, depending on
750 Rand. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is on. Oh, yeah, on Steam it's 750 as well. So you got it on PlayStation?
PlayStation, yeah.
Okay. And it was 750 there as
750 as well, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, considering new games are pushing $2,000 nowadays, not terrible.
No. Yeah. More of these experimental things potentially.
Ooh,
just
Lies of P is 400 Rand on Steam.
That's another great game you should play.
That got some DLC dropped. Shadow dropped on Friday.
Yeah. Good time.
Yeah. Go play some Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
Cool.
That's all I've played.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what's been happening here. So Nintendo Switch 2, some blueprints, some Elden Ring Nightreign. Next week or the week after, I'll be chatting about the Altars, which I've been playing, but the embargo's not up for, I think, till the end of this week. And yeah, hopefully by then I would have finished Clear Obscure as well. No promises. But yeah, the games are coming in thick and fast, and I think even June isn't really letting up. And after all the Summer Games Fest stuff, it's really going to shape up the rest of the calendar year. And before you know it, end of the month is Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei is like just around the corner as well. There's stuff coming.
It's too much stuff.
It's too much, but it's all very good stuff. I'm happy that this year's been like really. The games that you expect to hit are hitting, and then there's these surprising ones coming out every now and then that are just like hitting on another level. It's been a really solid year so far.
Had a great time.
That's going to do it for episode 271 of Checkpoint Chat. As always, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate you coming along for the ride. And if you have picked up a Nintendo Switch 2 or Elden Ring Nightreign or Hollow Knight Silk Song, I'm going to will it into existence, let us know. You can comment on the podcast on Spotify. You can email us, checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can chat with us on all our social media platforms. And, we don't have a dedicated question section, but we'll look at those. We'll pop them into the show now and then. Who knows? Who can say? Leave them anyway. I'd like to hear from everyone.
We could say. Who can say?
We could say. Who can say? I don't know. Not me. Definitely
we'll never
not me. Thanks again. We hope you all have a great week ahead. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you.
And we'll see you again. We'll see you next time, hopefully in a post-Silk Song release world.
Yes, please. Cool.
Yes, please. See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.